In this video, we're going to show you how to install the AC condenser on your Volvo XC90 located in the front of the vehicle. Before tackling this job, you want to be sure to bring the vehicle down and have the AC system professionally evacuated. Now, with the vehicle raised and supported, we do need to remove the front splash shield here, or the metal guard. And there's going to be 3 bolts on each side. There's one up inside of a pocket here, and then there's 2 on the back. Now we're going to be using our 13mm socket, and we need to loosen and remove these. Repeat for the other side. Now when you remove your bolts, the 2 shorter ones go towards the back, and then the longer one goes up through the bracket here and up into the cradle. Now this actually goes up and hooks over the top of the cradle itself. So I'm going to use my rubber mallet, and we're going to tap this. It's going to come up and out and move forward. Like so. Do the same to the other side, but be careful. Once it pops out, this is going to fall, so you want to make sure you have a hand on it to capture it. Now we want to go ahead and push this forward. We are going to have to flex the bumper just a little bit. Now we have fog lights in our vehicle, and the beam itself does come in contact with the back side of the fog light assembly, but if it just pushes forward a little bit, we can swing this down and drop that down and out. Do the same on the other side. With the splash shield gone, we can go ahead and locate these 2 bolts. There's one here and one right up behind it here. These are both 8mm. Let's go ahead and loosen and remove these. We're going to repeat this process for the passenger side. And once we remove this other little bolt from this cooler here, it's going to allow it to drop down a little bit. On the passenger side lower portion of our AC condenser, I'm going to go ahead and locate this connector at the bottom. Now there's a little metal spring tab or locking tab on it, and you're going to reach up on the top of it and pinch this lock tab down, releasing it, and then pull that off. So go ahead and reach up in there. You're going to feel for the little metal wire, push it down, it's almost spring loaded, and then pull that connector off like so. There's a little tab on the top. Up on top in the engine bay, we want to go ahead and remove the air intake right here. There's going to be 2 8mm bolts. Loosen and remove these. Going to grab this here, wiggle it, and twist it up at an angle. And you're disconnecting this box end from the air filter box. On the passenger side, right beside our radiator hose here, I'm going to locate this bolt right here. It's an 8mm, just like the bottom. I want to go ahead, loosen and remove this. We're using our stubby ratchet, little extension, and our deep 8mm to get in there. And pull that out. On the driver's side, we do have an upper bolt. It's right here, and you're going to access it through the engine bay area and come through this area. We use a long extension and our 8mm. Now we want to go ahead and remove the air baffle here along the front of our AC condenser. On the top, there's going to be a little pinch tab. I'm going to use my needle nose pliers. I'm going to pinch gently and pull out the upper portion, disconnecting that from the AC condenser. Now that we have the upper clip removed, if you go further down here, there's going to be another little clip here that pops out of the AC condenser, and then there's a little plastic post. We just want to try and pop that out. I'm going to lift up gently. I'm going to go over to the driver's side and work on that there. I'm going to do this on the driver's side. Now we do have to work this through this little hole here. This is our hood release. Pull this out a little bit, and we're going to do the same thing with our screwdriver. So go ahead and release the little tab at the bottom here. Now once you get the bottom unclipped, we're going to go ahead and take this unit, rotate it upward and off. Right by the hood release, I want to go ahead and loosen and remove this 10mm bolt right here. This is holding the AC line to the AC condenser. You use our 10mm socket, and we can go ahead and push that AC condenser down a little bit. It's going to allow us to get in there a little bit better with our tool. And you want to go ahead and loosen this. I'm going to go ahead and remove that bolt. Now we're going to lift this up a little bit. And we're going to separate the AC line from the AC condenser. There's a rubber O-ring in here that seals it. So when we pop it off, you might hear a quick little hiss or depressurizing from the system. That's totally normal. Now I do want to go ahead and separate this here. Sometimes this can be a bugger. You can just use a flathead screwdriver and kind of press it in a little bit and pry that. And there it is. Push that line behind it. On the passenger side lower portion, where we had disconnected our sensor from here, right below it is the lower AC line. There's an 8mm bolt right here we need to loosen and remove. Gonna loosen and remove this bolt. Set that aside, we'll be reusing that later. Let's go ahead and wiggle that line and pop that out. On the driver's side lower portion of the AC condenser, there is a hard line that comes up and goes into a plastic retainer. I'm going to use my needle nose pliers to pinch these tabs, and we need to separate this line. Now that is separated, on our cooler here, there are brackets. There is just a rubber insulator pad here. We're just gonna take this and rotate that and do that on the passenger side as well. That's gonna give us clearance to drop the AC condenser down and out. Good, slowly lower this down. On the old AC condenser, I wanna go ahead and loosen and remove our 8mm bolt here. If you're going to try and reuse the cap on the AC condenser, try and swap this over. Just slide that tank off just a little bit. Pop that off. And remove the cap. On the bottom of the receiver dryer, I want to go ahead and remove this sensor right here. I'm just going to use a pair of pliers on there to break that free. Now this little retainer here, this is for the lower portion of the AC line that clips into it. We do want to swap this over. So we're going to flip this face down. We're going to use a pocket screwdriver, a flathead screwdriver. And in the center of the back side is going to be a pin, plastic pin. I want to go ahead and push that through. Once that pin goes through, there's 3 little tabs here. I want to go ahead and push these tabs in and pop this out through the other side. The pin itself comes up through the center. Go ahead and grab the new AC condenser. We're just gonna stack that on top. We're gonna start by installing our retainer clips here, and there's gonna be a particular way that these go on. I wanna make sure that the threaded part faces down, and we install these here. They all install top facing down. This one here on the bottom will flip upside down like this. Install the 2 on the other side. Go ahead and flip the AC condenser. And our hose retainer is going to go over here. Go ahead and press that in. Once it's fully seated, you can take your screwdriver. I'm going to press that center button in. Now that we have our pin recessed and this is locked in place, we're now going to install our sensor. So we're going to take our unit here and we're going to lift this up and flip it over. On the bottom portion of the receiver dryer, chances are you're going to have a plug here. On this here, it's a 14mm. Go ahead and unthread that. Now this does have a new O-ring on it, so you can pull that off. Go ahead and grab the sensor and we're going to remove the old O-ring here. Now if the O-ring looks like it's in good shape, you could probably reuse it. In our case here, we're going to use a supplied O-ring to replace it. I'm going to install this. Going to grab our pliers and we're going to snug that down. You do want it to be snug. Don't over tighten it because you're just going into aluminum, but you'll feel it snug and bottom out. Now we're going to take the condenser and flip it over. I'm going to focus on this point right here. Use our Phillips head screwdriver to loosen this screw. Go ahead and remove that. I'm going to take our cap. We're just going to slightly move the tank out. Slide that over. And go ahead and put that screw back in. Snug that down. Now that we have our cap in place, we're going to go ahead and grab our 17mm wrench. And we do need to make sure that this valve portion is tight. It's loose from the factory. It does have an O-ring on it, so we do want to set that. So we're just going to use our 17mm wrench, and we want to just snug that down. Remember, it's aluminum, so you don't want to go too tight, but once it seats, just snug it just a little bit more. We want to make sure it's nice and snug. Then we're going to take the supplied O-ring, and we want to put it on the second groove down. So we need to slide this over. Now that we have that rubber O-ring in place, go ahead and install our cap. And snug that down so it's bottomed out. Once we have that cap on, we can go ahead and install it into the vehicle. Now before we install our AC condenser, sliding it up inward, we have our plastic spacer here. We need to hold this up in a position. And as we feed it up, we have to watch out for the hard line on the passenger side and the hard line on the driver's side. Being careful not to damage anything. Okay, so now that we have our AC condenser and our plastic spacer in place, I'm going to start by taking one of the longer bolts and I'm going to put it in through the radiator, through the spacer, and into the little screw tab or the clip here and get that started. Go ahead and get that bolt started and run that in several threads. Now we're not going to tighten it. We do want to have some flexibility here, but that's going to allow us to release this side. It's going to hold it and go over to the passenger side. We're going to do the same over here. And then we'll go ahead and run that bolt in a little bit. Perfect. So now we have the two longer bolts installed on the bottom portion. That's holding everything in place. Let's continue on by installing the rest of the bolts. I'm going to take the hard line here on the driver's side. I'm going to bring that over and snap it into that plastic retainer clip. Go ahead and install our electrical connector on the lower passenger side. You might have to push in on that little metal spring clip to get that to seat. And then you should feel that spring clip pop back up and lock it in. Give that connector a little wiggle, make sure it's locked in. Now we can install our hard line here. Now you do want to pay attention to the O-ring that is on the end of that hard line. If it looks like it's compromised, torn, or anything like that, you do want to go ahead and replace that. Ours looks like it's in good shape. So I want to go ahead and line that up into the AC condenser. Push that into place. And then we're gonna slide our mounting block over. And let's go ahead and get our bolt installed. Start threading that in by hand first. Once you get that started, we can now go ahead and snug it down. All right, so we want to make sure that the aluminum block here is fully seated, and then we'll snug this down. Make sure it's good and snug. Don't over tighten it because it is aluminum. You'll strip it out. And slide our tabs up into position and push our cooler on up. Push our cooler up into position. And go ahead and get our bolt started on that. Once we get this one started here, we're going to go ahead and do the same on the passenger side. Now that we have them both started, let's go ahead and snug them down. Once those bottom down, just kind of snug them just a little bit and do the same for the other side. Now I want to install the driver's side AC line here. Now if you can, you put some PAG oil around the O-ring here. Make sure that the O-ring is in good condition. And a way to do that is run your finger across the top of it. Make sure that the O-ring sticks up further than the aluminum base that it is in. If it feels like it's flush, there's a potential that you could have a leak there. But our O-ring feels good. Now before we go ahead and pop this on, we do want to get and remove the rubber plug from this here. I'm just going to use a pair of needle nose pliers and pop that out. That's just a little protective plug. Good, line this up and push that up and on. Now that we have everything lined up here, I'm going to go ahead and install our bolt. Get that started by hand. I'm going to use our gear wrench in there. Okay, that's going to bottom out. Snug it down. We're going to take our long bolt, feed it through the engine bay area, feed it through the radiator, feed it through and into our condenser. All right, once we have that lined up and in there, put our extension on there and start to thread that through. You'll be able to see that bolt coming through the front side. Now we're not going to tighten this yet. We want to have a little bit of play in this still. Let's go ahead and install the bolt on the passenger side. Now that we install the passenger side bolt, we're going to come back here with our ratchet and we want to go ahead and snug this down. At this point here, we have all of our hardware installed loosely, and we're going to just go back now and snug everything down. All right, snug it down. We're going to go ahead and snug down the passenger side next, and then move to the bottom. Let's go ahead and snug down our lower bolts here. And let's repeat for the passenger side. And take the air diffuser, slide this around the hood release. Work that up and around like so. Now we just need to install our locking tabs. Lock that in. Once that's all secured there, we're going to go ahead and continue running over to the passenger side. Lock that in, line up our tabs. Good, lock that in. Install our guard here, or shield. Work that up into place. Now we can install our bolts. Now along the driver's side here, we have the 2 bolt holes right here. Let's go ahead and get our bolts started. And once we get those 2 in, if you follow this right up, there is a large hole right here. Follow this up, there is a hole right here, and that's where the longer bolt is going to go. Feed that up inside. Wiggle that bracket around and go ahead and get that started. Now once we have these 3 started, let's go ahead and repeat the process for the passenger side. Let's go ahead and snug these down. Go ahead and repeat for the passenger side. Let's install our upper air intake here. Lower this down inside. Twist it around. Put it inside the air filter base. Get our bolts started. Once those are started, we'll go ahead and snug them down. Now at this point here, you want to bring the vehicle down and get the AZ system professionally recharged.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.